had such a limited view of God. I never really experienced him for myself.
I was really struggling with just getting deeper with God, and it just seemed like I wasn't having any success.
It's the worst time in my life. I was going through a depression.
I was ostracizing my friends, cursing a lot, doing a lot of things from impure motives and very selfish places.
Living an impure relationship and just having bad priorities in my life before God, and I felt something was missing but didn't know what.
It was supposed to be an incredible time in my life because it was my dream school, and but it didn't turn out that way.
I was in a relationship that was not good for me. You know, it was impure and immoral.
I didn't have a lot of deep relationships or friendships with brothers.
I did some things that I'm not too proud of, and I hurt people in a horrible way.
My lack of delight in the brothers and the men of God. I was drawn to the men in the world.
Put up a wall around myself to protect myself against getting hurt.
Corrupted the way I looked at the world, because it just really affected the way I just looked at things.
I never really had a relationship to rely on somebody and also trust.
And I was afraid, you know, I just kept thinking that's not acceptable, and you just got to get it together. And it was defeating, it was discouraging, and it was embarrassing, and it was scary. You know, it made me question my love for God, it made me question my character.
Like David in Psalm 32, had some sin in his heart that weighed him down, made him feel wasted away. And I similarly had some things in my heart that sat there for months and wasn't open about.
I always kept people at a distance because of my pride, and would be very arrogant and very self-focused, and everything would be about me and wanting the spotlight to be on me.
And it just took a toll on me because I didn't have anyone to go to. I kind of kept all my emotions just to myself.
So many insecurities and fears in my heart.
It just felt like I was the most depraved man in the church. That maybe I was the only one.
Every single year has been increasingly better, like with God. I go through the times where I want to pull back, and then regardless, God just, is very sheltering. He woos me. He really takes care of me regardless of where I am. As I became a disciple, I grew to love the scriptures. I grew more intimate with God.
So I would be on my knees and beg God to fill my heart, just with the love that I've been longing for.
I really see God's faithfulness, and how He believes in me. And I feel like God, again, reminded me, like, Rachel, nothing's going to satisfy, ever, I'm the only thing that satisfies. I studied the Bible and met these amazing disciples. And
so thankful for the disciples here and how they've helped me with my journey, studying the Bible with me, making themselves available.
God's power worked really solidly when a sister in the church came up to me and gave me her telephone number. And next thing I know, I'm going out to social events within the church, going to midweek Sundays, and I could just see God's power.
God really, spared me. I had the opportunity to meet some amazing disciples there that I didn't know they were Christians at the time, but they invited me to Bible studies. They invited me to study the Bible, and I found that message of hope and forgiveness.
And I work really early. I get up at 5:30. And she would come and get up with me and go and have my quiet times with me. And I was so impacted and moved by that. I thought, wow, this is the kingdom, we're not going to go to heaven without each other.
Just kept bonding with people here at the church. It was something that you couldn't really fill up in the world. There was a lot of empty relationships I had in the world, but here it was just so deep and so moving.
In confession, it was confession that brought out that I wasn't the only one that was having struggles with my purity, with my relationships. I really saw how God can help me start repenting again, help me want to be impacted by God's word. And it was the brothers sharing and confessing together that really helped me.
God gave me the opportunity to share that with some of the brothers, and a few of the brothers really helped me to get through that, work through it, be open about it. God really used that to help changed me.
I believe that I almost needed to go through that. You know, I think I needed to be challenged.
He just stripped everything away from me, got to a point where I had to make a decision.
One thing that God really showed me this past year is just even in the low points, that He wants to strengthen us according to His Word. And you know, God really showed His power, you know, through that, through His Word, through brothers, through other people in my life. And
I feel like, you know, God's always hitting you with different points in your life. One of the scriptures that it was shared to me during that time was Romans 5:3. That's one of the scriptures that helped me a lot, just to process all those moments where God just tested me, trial after trial, and just remembering that. I felt like it was somewhere I can just go and be secure that God was there testing me, and then the aftermath will be just hope for me.
God's really worked. He's broken me down so that I can really become more dependent, firstly on Him, obviously my relationship with Him, but also so much His people and people in my life.
What I love so much about God is that transformation is not just for when we become disciples, but, you know, even during our Christian lives.
God worked. When He knows you really want Him, He will transform your heart. He will change you.
Another disciple said, you know, you've changed. You seem more peaceful. You seem more just relaxed. And even today after school, like one of the people at my work said this exact same thing.
And she's like, you've changed so much. You're more patient. You listen more. And I'm like, really? I didn't think I listened more. But apparently something's working.
Frustration of whether it be through work or whether it be my patience, God has just transformed a lot of that, and really looked to the Bible. I had a lot of people help me out with that as well.
Through the Bible, you know, I just changed my life. You know, those people that I hurt, you know, I never wanted to do that again. You know, I never wanted to be that way.
We let go of our flesh and become part of something bigger that we don't really see, but what's unseen.
I've been having breakthroughs, and it's been invigorating.
I'm more confident in who I am and sharing God's word. I'm more confident in speaking His truth, even when it's not comfortable.
Now I see a lot of blessings in my life, and as my walk gets deeper with God, I feel like He's definitely answering a lot of prayers.
A year later, I have so many friendships with brothers. I just feel like, you know, God just really answered a prayer.
His whole power just worked because it changed my entire life. It changed my outlook on my personal life, on my relationships, and it's really made me more hopeful for my future, knowing that I've God in my life and He's just going to bless me if I keep following His path and really sticking to Him and making Him the priority in my life versus the world and myself.
The area that's transformed is just my perception of challenges, of suffering, and of struggles. So it's been an amazing year, and it's God has just shown Himself to be just, you know, all sufficient in every single area that I've went through.
And because of that, I give my whole life to God. You know, whatever God asked me to do, I'm going to do it because, you know, He saved me, and I have hope, and I have forgiveness. And
God was able to really help me get focused on others and reach out to some friends and study the Bible with a guy who became a Christian.
The transformation was seeing each other change, holding each other accountable, seeing God's Word really impacting us on a daily basis. And that's where the transformation is God working through people.
To give my heart first to God, and through that I've been able to really give my heart and just really love the lost again, and just even give my heart to other brothers and sisters. And it's helped me, you know, in so many different areas of my life.
Understanding the relationships, how everything hangs on your relationship with God. Love your Lord your God with all your heart, and then, you know, equally as important as that, love your neighbor as yourself, has really become very real to me, and I'm super grateful for that.
The area of transformation, like eventually I realized that only God can really fill that void in my heart, and since then I've, you know, just discovered God's love, the reality of it, and just what it means to really be secure.